Well, just when you were getting comfortable with the concept of the price elasticity of demand, we're going to introduce another concept related to elasticity, or another elasticity concept. And this is the income elasticity of demand. And when we talk about the income elasticity of demand, we are talking about how quantity demanded changes with income. And remember from our conversation in class and your reading that unlike the price elasticity of demand, where price goes up, quantity demanded goes down, price goes down, quantity demanded goes up, they always move in opposite direction. Price elasticity of demand is always negative. The income elasticity of demand could be positive, could be negative, could be zero. It's really important to keep track of the sign in this one. Well, let's start by defining the income elasticity of demand. Here we'll call it E super I. You'll notice some places, actually in this screencast, I call it E parentheses I, income elasticity of demand. And I call it E parentheses I just because I can't get a superscript in this one app, Haiku app that I use to make the graphics. Anyway, the income elasticity of demand is defined as the percent change in quantity demanded. Also, it's another ratio, but now instead of the percent change in price, we're talking about the percent change in income. So, students want to memorize all these formulas, and I understand that, and if that works for you, great. But there's a lot of formulas to remember, and if you remember the logic, just income elasticity of demand, an elasticity always has some percentage change in the numerator. It's a percentage change in quantity in the numerator. And then it's got some other percentage change in the denominator. If it's price elasticity of demand, we've got the percentage change in price in the denominator. But look, it's the income elasticity of demand. The name of the elasticity concept tells us what change is in the denominator. Here it's the income elasticity of demand. And just as you might imagine, very similar to the price elasticity of demand, sometimes it's convenient to look at this one as the proportionate change in quantity demanded divided by the proportionate change in income. These, well, let me get my little arrow. These little deltas mean change in. So we've got the incremental change in quantity demanded divided by the level. Usually we use just the initial level of quantity demanded. Incremental change in income divided by the level of income. Now, let's run through the various cases we see in the economy. This is just dictionary breath time. Inferior goods we use the term inferior goods to refer to goods where when income goes up, the quantity demanded of the goods goes down, or vice versa. When income goes down, the quantity demanded of an inferior good goes up. And these are simply goods where, poor people eat a lot of them and rich people not so much. They might eat some, but or use some, but they use less relative to what they used when they were poor. So top ramen noodles, turns out after you're a college student, after you make it through grad school, you almost never eat top ramen noodles. I happen to like top ramen noodles, and I still have one. But I lived on them when I was in grad school. You could get a packet if you buy them in bulk, and get a pack for just a few pennies. And but since getting a job, I haven't eaten but maybe 3 packs in 21 years. So anyway, that tends to be the pattern. So. Hamburger Helper, we talked in class Hyundai and Kia automobiles. These are things that poor people use more than rich people use them. And indeed, when people get rich, they stop using them. They switch away from the Hyundai and get the Toyota. And then when they get a little richer, they switch away from the Toyota and get the Lexus. Anyway, a good where income goes up, people use less, or income goes down, they use more, that's an inferior good. Technically, the income elasticity of demand is negative, right? Income goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. Income goes down, the quantity demanded goes up. They always move opposite, so this measure, the proportionate change in one divided by the proportionate change in the other, is negative. So If you got an income elasticity of demand less than 0, you got an inferior good. All right, well, normally, I picked the iPhone 6 just because it just came out this week. But normally, when your income goes up, then, you want more stuff. Rich people have more stuff than poor people. In a normal good, you get richer, you want more. And so a rich person is going to have a phone and an iPad and it's going to have a bunch of stuff. And their kids are all going to have them. And, my kids have to go to school. They're the only ones without a phone. But anyway, when I get rich, they'll get a phone. Actually, I've told them that when they're ready to pay for their own data plan, they get a phone. But anyway, that's a long time coming. So normally, when your income goes up, the quantity demand of a normal good goes up, income goes down, you can afford less, you buy less. So normally, the income elasticity of demand, let me get a different arrow color there. We'll use yellow. This sort of faded, ugly yellow, but sorry. Anyway, normally, income elasticity of demand is positive. So when income goes up, quantity demanded goes up of a normal good, income goes down, quantity demanded goes down. A couple other terms, and let's end this one. I'm just a little over 5 minutes here, 6 minutes. All right, let's talk about some finer categories within normal goods. I don't think our texts go into this, but hey, who doesn't want more vocabulary, right? We use the term necessity to talk about goods that are normal. Income elasticity is greater than 0, but it's less than 1, pretty small. So foodstuffs are in this category where, and a lot of commodities are in this category. As people get richer, the commodity component of what they consume goes up, but not by very much. So Bill Gates, he's a lot richer than I am. He needless to say, he could consume all the wheat he wanted, but he's a man. He's not a particularly big eater from the looks of him, and chances are his wheat intake is about the same as mine. I might eat a little more rice. It's a little less expensive. He might eat a little more wheat. But it's a very, very small difference. Now, when we talk about the processing level of the food Bill eats compared to the processing level of the food I eat, I imagine we would find a big difference. He would go to nice restaurants, and I went to a nice restaurant once that was my uncle, who's super rich. He's dead now, but anyway, this is in the 80s. He took me out of this restaurant where the peasant garlic soup, that was its name, sort of not ironically, but I saw the irony in it, was priced at like $9. The entrees were, $150 and $1980. It's just, I'd never been to a place before, and never have since. But I imagine Bill wouldn't think twice about going to such a place. All right, and then finally, the last subcategory I'll just mention here briefly is a luxury good. A luxury good is one where the income elasticity of demand is greater than 1. And I've picked this ultra luxurious yacht. It looks almost like a military boat. It's so sleekly styled. But when you have a demand that where you measure the income elasticity of demand greater than 1, we've got something like a yachts or Infinity automobiles, Lexus automobiles, BMWs, Mercedes, whatever. That tends to be a characteristic of a luxury good.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.